Hello everyone, it's me, Ari Dawson. You can call me Rashid. I'm your anthropologist and sociologist. Hit the like button, share this video, subscribe to the channel, become a member of the channel, and don't forget, donate in the links below. Thank you very much. About cults. Why do people fall for cults? I made a live stream about this already. Actually, I made multiple live streams. And yes, there are exceptions in which people are just tricked. As a creature, you're not God, so you don't know everything. So that means because you're a creature, you have requirements need to be met. If those requirements are not met, though the circumstances, you malfunction. And while you malfunction, others can trick you. Or even if you're not malfunctioning, you can still be tricked by people misrepresenting facts or whatever. So there are people who have been tricked into cults, and they had no clue what they were dealing with until it was too late. That happens, but that's not the mainstream of why people end up in cults. Okay? The majority of people that end up in cults, they don't want to be part of a cult. They don't want to be part of some toxic restriction. They don't want to be exploited and all of that. But they still end up in such a situation. Rarely will find someone who will say, man, I'm going to join this cult because I want to get some money, or I'm going to sell my soul because that. Rarely will find that. The overwhelming majority of people that end up in cults, as I said in one of my live streams, they want to escape. They're in escapism. There's something they don't want to face about themselves. And I'm going to mention it in different words here, which explains the same thing, but in a more serious way. A lot of people out there, they want to be lied to. Yes, you heard me correctly. A lot of people out there, they want to be lied to. It's not that they're more vulnerable to be lied to. It's not that they lack the mental capacity to notice that someone is lying to them. They actively want people to lie to them. Let me explain. Let's say you have someone who's always blunt. They don't consider how they affect other people's feelings, just bluntly say how they think and feel, so what? And they say, well, you asked my opinion, so it should be meant when I give it. No, hold on. If in a courthouse they ask for your opinion, will it be blunt, just say how as it is, without considering the judge and the jury and everyone else? If you do that, you may be arrested for contempt of court and spend like 60 days or more in prison. Simple as that. If a police officer is interrogating you and you act in an inconsiderate way, you will be arrested too. If your employer at work asks that, are you going to just be blunt without being sensitive? No. All these people were blunt into your face, saying it as it is, or quote unquote, keeping it real. They call it being honest. They're just being violent and narcissistic. Because if someone else would do the same towards them, they want to take it. They will be upset. But people like this were always blunt to your face, saying it as it is. They are the same people who can't take it when you call out facts about them that don't add up. You call facts about them that don't add up, either go ghost, they just disappear, or they end up gaslighting you, acting like, well, you're the sensitive one, this or that, or they end up trying to mention something else that's not to do with what you address. They may say, well, you called me out for being insensitive. How come when others do it, you say, okay, if you only call that individual out for being insensitive, all the other ones you allow, okay, then something is wrong. They have right to address that. But if they say, well, Kevin does it too, and it's perfectly fine, they just try to deflect the fact you call them out. Listen, people who are blunt are just violent. Violent people are the main people ending up in cults. They don't have to be violent in a physical way. Pick up a knife and stab you, or just beat you up when you don't do what they want. But they may be violent in a spiritual and emotional way. Or they may be violent in the sense that they neglect you anytime they come get something out of you. Violent people, which includes people who are blunt without any discretion, those people are the easiest to fool. They're the easiest to scam and con. You cannot operate in violence without harming yourself internally. And when you harm yourself internally, it will also work out in your physical body and your life circumstances. So violent people are damaging themselves on a regular basis. Because listen, if you treat a human being like they don't matter, your own mind will reflect back and alarm you that, hold on a minute, this is a human being, what am I doing? And what do violent people do? They say, yeah, but he was annoying. Yeah, but he's a piece of shit. Yeah, but he deserved it. They go all over themselves, damage themselves even further mentally by pushing for excuses why it was okay for them to be in disharmony with this fellow human being. Well, at least I was honest, or at least I. No, they always come with some excuse for them being neglectful and wasteful towards other people. Now, people like this, violent people, they don't have to be violent on a physical level. Anytime someone disregards your well being, okay, sometimes when people say facts, it may hurt you. But if they say it with a loving and constructive way, it will hurt for a little moment, then you move on. Some people just say it out of the blue, they don't care how it affects you. That's just violence. When people disregard your well-being, because then disregarding your feelings is disregarding your well-being, because your feelings affect your physical body. So if they disregard your feelings, and that means they also are damaging you physically in the long run. When someone is like that and they keep making excuses, such an individual becomes delusional over time. And such people, they want others to lie to them. They want others to keep telling them the excuse they tell themselves. They're looking for collaborators to collaborate with their excuses. That's what they want. But the same people claim that they're all for the truth, they're just keeping it real, they're not sugarcoating, they're not kissing ass. But those same people put them in a position where someone has a leverage over them, and they realize, oh, someone has a leverage over me, whether it's a police officer, a judge, or employee, or whatever. You know what? I better watch my mouth now, or I better watch how I act. But when you're around other people, where they don't perceive potential harmful consequences for their behavior, just go wild, say it as it is, or act the way it is. Such people are cowards, but they don't want to look in the mirror and admit they're cowards, that they're unreliable, untrustworthy, and actually not worthwhile to even be around. They want the excuse that makes them feel better about themselves. And now they're looking for a support group to validate this false self. This is what they call the false self in psychology, and also in a lot of those self-help books. So I just explained it in a more clear way. The false self is an excuse that violent people are looking for to be validated. And guess what? An individual like this, they'll only be around you when they validate their excuse. The false self is an excuse, so they don't have to look at themselves, face their own deficiencies, and look for improvement. They want to hold on to control. They want to control how others feel about them. And people like that, not always, often, they're quote-unquote private people. You go to social media, everything's on private. Even when you are in the friends list, whatever, everything's still on private. Or such people, they may play the victim because how other people mistreated them, and maybe it is true they were mistreated, but they will leave the part out of how they mistreated other people. Or you have to be around for a while before you begin to release relevant information about themselves. For example, if someone was divorced twice, and you're considering you're dating this individual, you're considering marrying this individual, you should know they've been divorced twice. Or maybe they have a few children, and you're quote-unquote best friends. They consider you best friends, they even call it like that, but they found out they have all these other children you're not even aware of. So, quote-unquote private people, not always, but often, they're just violent people who don't want you to call them out. They've neglected and mistreated a lot of people, so they want to hide that history, because once the history is shown, you may not want to deal with them. Or you may say, okay, you mistreated all these people the wrong way. Have you improved? Because if you have to improve, it means you're going to do the same towards me. And the fact is, they have not improved because they want to face themselves. So they will always be out there scamming and conning people with this false self, acting like they're better than they really are. It's one thing to pretend that you're better while you're on your way to improve. People that want to improve, they will pretend to be better because that motivates them to actually improve. That's different from someone who's faking it just because they want to deal with themselves and because they want to give an account for how horrible they've been. Some people have been horrible and they don't want to own it up and improve. That's what's going on. So that means they'll do the same towards you and always come with an excuse to. Simple as that. Such people, they want to be lied to. The moment people begin to call them out or they begin to mention their inconsistencies, you will notice them either laughing it off, or they'll gaslight people like nothing ever happened, or they will just ghost you for a season and come back like nothing happened also. Some will ghost permanently if they mess up too much. There are both men and women behaving this way. And in the Western world, a lot of women behaving this way. It's not proper. It's violence. Simple as that. I'm calling it for what it is. It's dishonorable, it's disgusting, it's horrible, it's damaging, and we're not built for this. And there's no way any human being should put up with this or condone this behavior. It's an attitude that shouldn't be condoned, neither the behavior that comes out of that attitude. But it's people like this that want to be lied to. And that's why they end up in these cults. So, them ending up in these cults, they're not a victim. Because they never wanted reality to begin with. They always wanted people to validate their false self. They always wanted people to enable them escaping. They've been violent all along. So what happened was, because they kept refusing reality, the Heavenly Father, God Himself, had them over to their delusion. And now, evil spirits, through those bad and evil human beings, began to take advantage of them. So God had them over to the same violence they've been acting in. But now the violence they've been acting in is backfiring on them, because some others doing the same thing to them that they're doing to other people. But those who are doing it towards them now, doing it in a much more intense way. But now that they experience the damage done by the cult, now suddenly they're the big victim. How they end up here, people are evil, this and that. Hold on a minute. How come you ended up there? How come you didn't notice any warning symptoms? You did notice warning symptoms, but you just didn't want to face yourself. You just wanted your excuse to be validated. You wanted to be lied to. And there are even many believers out there who still have this dumb narcissistic attitude. They want to be lied to. That's why they end up in all these churches that are teaching them lies. That's why they end up following false doctrine. That's why they end up following YouTube channels that don't teach them anything for the better. And at the same time, they avoid any true congregation of believers, any true ministry that actually uproots their bullshit. The Bible says in the New Testament, in the end times, many believers will depart from the faith and follow doctrines of devils. So that means that a lot of believers are going to start chasing fairy tales in the end times instead of walking by faith. And that's happening right now. Not every believer that's been drained or victimized by a cult is an actual victim. A lot of them are just collaborators who refuse to do the will of their Heavenly Father. They don't want to self-reflect. They want to own up to their failures. They want to own up to when they were horrible towards others. They want to own up that they're not trustworthy. They want to own up that they're the ones who have been bad news. They don't want to own up to anything. They have to own up to it and then agree, I need to be better, and actually make effort to become better. A better and safer human being. That's what they ought to do. But no, they don't want to do this inner work. The inner work, they don't want to do it. But they're even in paganism, they tell you need to do your inner work. They call it shadow work in paganism, but even they understand you need to face yourself and improve. No matter how difficult, how painful it is. But no, this will rather dish out pain and damage to others so as long as they can escape. I'm telling you, yes, there are people who contract in cults that are actual victims who are taken advantage of. Absolutely. Those people we should want to rescue, help them out, because those people are willing to be better and do something about the situation. But then you have the majority of cult members out there, members of cult, whether it's a common cult or a satanic cult, they ended up there because they want to be lied to, and yet people that stroke their ego and validate their false self, and that's why they're there. For example, someone may be very private and very shy, very introverted, but then when you begin to validate the false self, suddenly they're very open about everything. Watch out with such people, I'm telling you. Not all violent people are private persons, as that they kind of shield themselves off completely. But if somebody shows themselves off completely and it's not because of trauma and all that, watch out. Why should everyone put up with you concealing yourself? Why do you want to know what you're dealing with, but others have to just rely on your word, what you say about yourself? Why don't you rely on what others say about themselves? Why do you want proof from other people, but people just have to believe you on your word? What is that? You just want to take advantage of other people. You're just narcissistic, violent, and wasteful. That's what you are. If you're listening to this message and you like this, listen, you're the embarrassment over here. You're the problem. Not the Heavenly Father. It's not your parents that neglected you, though they may have a part in it. It's not society. It's not Satan. It's not fallen angels. It's not the Nephilim. It's not witch, warlocks. It's not Illuminati. It's not that. It's you. You're the embarrassment and you're the problem over here. You need to look in the mirror and you need to improve. If you need therapy or counseling, you do it to improve your oath to yourself and to the rest of mankind. Nobody's obliged to put up with you going around damaging others just because you don't want to face yourself. You're damaging yourself and damaging others with you, and you think it's justified because you will it. You can't will whatever you will. You owe the community too, as others owe you. All right? But anyway, just know, for all of you listening to this, majority of cult members are not innocent victims. They're collaborators who want their false selves to be validated because they want to look at themselves and improve. So they're collaborators. And beware with helping out collaborators, because most of them are just dragging you in their misery, and you end up more wounded and damaged than they are. Sometimes you even die as collateral damage helping such people out. So beware. Well, that's it for now. Keep on with Christ and be at peace.